County Public Library, and I'm here to review a book that I recently enjoyed, and it is The Barren Grounds by David A. Robertson. So, this is a middle grade book that came out in 2020, but I just discovered it, and that made me think that perhaps others had not yet discovered this book either, and it was a great adventure. So, here we are doing a book review. Now, our main character is Morgan. That's her right there. She is a young Indigenous Canadian teenager, and she is just trying to settle into her 8th foster home. This one happens to be in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and it's actually not that bad. Her foster parents are maybe actually trying a little too hard, and that is getting on Morgan's last nerve. Now, she has some pretty deep-seated anger issues. One, she's 13, so that's just kind of that angsty teenage years. But a lot of her anger, as an adult, I can tell, comes from, that feeling of being disconnected from her culture, um, always having to be the new kid at school. Again, this is her 8th foster home, and being a foster and just that whole experience. And she also doesn't have that many friends yet at this school. Now, Morgan lives with Eli. He is right here. He's a little younger than her. He is also Cree, but he, unlike Morgan, had a childhood experience with his Cree family. So he knows a lot more about Cree culture and their mythology, and he can also speak the Cree language. Now, like Morgan, he is also struggling to be apart from his community, and he's also having a kind of a hard time making friends. So they kind of just have each other right now. And then there's a few other people at school that, have the potential to be friends. Now, Eli is actually a really talented artist, and our story really takes off when Eli hangs one of his recent drawings, which is of this barren, snowy landscape with this village in the background, on the wall in their attic at their foster home. And you wouldn't think that would be anything special, right? They're just hanging up this sketch. But when they use this staple gun to hang it up, first staple goes in, and there's suddenly this blast of cold that hits them in the face. And then the next staple goes into the next corner. And then there's even like more cold. And then as we get all 4 corners stapled down in this attic room for Eli's drawing, there's snow that's starting to come in, and that drawing actually turns into a window/portal into this other world. So this portal takes Morgan and Eli to Aski. This is as the title kind of tells you, this frozen barren ground where they meet Ochek. Here is Ochek. He is a talking bear. And they learn that Ochek is the only hunter supporting his starving community, which is made up of all of these other talking animals. The community is called Misewa. And Ochek welcomes these human children and teaches them traditional ways to survive. But as the need for food becomes desperate, the 3 of them embark on a dangerous mission to bring back what they call the green time, which is when all of the seasons were regularly occurring, and it wasn't snow all the time. So there's a reason why Misewa is stuck in the white time, which is when there's always snow. And so I'm not going to give away why that's happening, but they're going to figure it out and go on a mission to bring back the green time. And for this mission, they are accompanied by Eric. Here's Eric. She is a very sassy squirrel, and she's a lot of fun. She kind of acts as a foil for Ochek, who's very stoic and kind of seen as like a wise figure. So what I liked about this, the focus on Indigenous teens and Cree culture, I definitely think we need more books like this with own voices authors. So David Robertson is also Cree. I really liked Eli helping Morgan learn about that culture that she was cut off from. So you learn that Morgan was sent into the foster system pretty much as a toddler, or maybe, like an older baby. So she doesn't have as much knowledge. I liked that they talked about the foster care system, but that Morgan and Eli's foster parents aren't terrible. So many books that have, I don't want to say so many, but there are quite a few books where there are kiddos in the foster system and then they have terrible foster parents. In this case, Morgan references a time where she was with not so great parents, but this time the folks they're with now, they're pretty good and they're actually really supportive. The landscape, beautiful. Really liked that. Beautifully written. And then the last thing I really liked was that, so this book, and we even have this little quote down here, she's probably too small to read, is kind of marketed as an Indigenous answer to the Chronicles of Narnia. And I would definitely say that that is an apt description. Like the siblings in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, they start in an unknown home, and then they, of course, find the portal to another realm where there's talking animals. There's that, similarities with the snow. That's probably where the similarities end, but it was fun. Okay, so for a middle grade novel, this is a little slower paced. It isn't nonstop action like you see with some other books written for this grade level or age level. It is also book one of a series that Robertson calls the Misewa Saga. 3 more books in this series are actually out and available. I have not yet read them. But if you like this book, you won't have to wait to read more about Morgan and Eli's adventures. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this book review of The Barren Grounds by David A. Robertson.